Okay, so building great strategies and portfolios. Let's see, let's click again, please. So in this example, it's kind of like where we started. We have Fidelity Select Medical Delivery, Energy Services, Electronics, Multimedia, and Consumer Finance. Those are some pretty different sector pistons. And just with those four things, firing whenever they fire, SectorSurfer pieces together sections of ownership of only one of these at a time. Never two, never four, only the best. And you get performance that's something in the 20 to 30% range, just out of those four things. Now it's got nice little lumps and bumps, and there's points in time when you run into some points in time where you say, oh my God, it's failing, and then picks up and goes again. You see it all the way along. This is the character of the market. Some of the safety strategies online in the Hall of Fame have significantly smoothed out some of those lines. But anyway, click again, please. Okay, so in terms of diversification, there's a lot of kinds of diversification you can talk about, and the kind that you probably never hear about, but which SectorSurfer is serial diversification. It's like serial marriage, being married to one person, but a series of them get married to one of these mutual funds at a time. So serial diversification, and it's what I refer to as true sector rotation, where you really are just doing one at a time. You can find some sector rotation mutual funds on, in the market, and if you plot those things next to the S&P 500, you say, yeah, what kind of rotation's going on here? This kind of looks like the S&P 500. These guys, when you read their perspectives, oh yeah, we're weighting a little more this way or a little more that way. They're still owning the things that they don't need to be owning. There's no good reason to own even the second best in the trend. I've done the experiments, and if you own the first best and it comes on like this, if you plot something on here owning the second best, it's kind of way down here. And I never went online with that because it has no value. People would look at it and say, okay, now I'm done. Get that out of my way. There's no value in even the second best. So you want to only owning the one best fund at any time. Okay, I think that probably takes us quick to the end of our, oh no, we have more good stuff.
All right.
We're not to the advanced stuff. Okay, so there's another aspect of SectorSurfer. There's a sector rotation algorithm that you just heard about, and this is about StormGuard. The algorithm for StormGuard is a longer time horizon thing. And StormGuard is what takes you out of the market when it really starts heading down south for a vacation where you don't want to go. And what you see on the chart here, the yellow line is SectorSurfer without StormGuard, and with StormGuard, it took you out of the market during those periods. That's where the flat things is, takes you to cash. Next chart, please.
Sir, can you tell us just a little bit more about StormGuard in terms of, without giving away your proprietary information, something that probably would expect?
There's a little more coming up on the next one, but there's a lot more that's in that video presentation that I referred to in the beginning. And I can, Joe, or I can point you there later, but there's a whole big thing about this, and that's filter processing for exactly how that works. Okay, so there's these two time zones here. Next, please. Yeah, we do have, so on this strategy, the overall improvement here, because this is a logarithmic scale, was an 85% better, more account value at the end, just by doing StormGuard or not StormGuard. Next, please.
Scott?
Yes.
We'll wait for StormGuard. Is StormGuard looking at my portfolio, or is it looking at the S&P?
It's looking at the S&P. And an interesting thing about that, when I looked at how I was going to do that, particularly when you've got U.S. stocks, and then you've got your foreign mutual funds, and well, just a whole variety of things out there. And you say, well, maybe I should be using something that relates to the S&P 500 for this, and something else for these world, country, and region things. It turns out, as I did the experiments, there was nothing that worked better than using the S&P 500 basically as the basis for the whole damn world. And it's apparently really true that when the U.S. sneezes, the world catches a cold. Tried all sorts of different indices. There's nothing better than just using the S&P 500 as a basis.
Thank you.
Okay, so this this might actually have a series of steps in it. Just kind of threw some of these in here at the last moment today when I was told we should probably review some stuff. But what the big point here is here is the performance of what have we got here? 6 different strategies, 6 different mutual fund strategies using different time constants for StormGuard. And I've had a couple of customers over the time, well, particularly about a year and a half ago, say, the market's, not looking good. How come StormGuard hasn't triggered yet? I gotta get out of here, and it's mid-month. Do I have to wait till the end? And for those of you that have been around for a while, you might remember that I made a change to StormGuard around that time, so that it would trigger mid-month, stuff like that, and to satisfy the itchy trigger finger of people. But if you actually do trigger too fast, then you lose performance. And what this is about is if you wait too long, you go over the cliff. But if you go too quickly, then, for example, when in Japan they had their tsunami and the market went, ah! Well, if a day later you said, oh my God, and bailed out, well, what happened? The market bounced back and you got whipsawed. So there's whipsaw losses over here, and there's the big fall off the cliff over here, and there's a happy medium, and that's what StormGuard chooses. And by the way, with the last change that was made, when we separated the trade signal day from the trade execution day by 1, I surreptitiously moved StormGuard back to doing it only month end, because in the end, StormGuard is better waiting until month end also. And so I put it back to there, but in the advanced features, you will eventually get a new StormGuard, not tonight, but soon. That will be a secondary type StormGuard, which I kind of refer to as a asymmetric quick response. That's on the way, but not here now, and it should satisfy these knee-jerk people. Okay. But regular StormGuard is month end, and we do want to operate at the max response. And for those of you who are sector surfers, then you click one more time, see if that brightens up. Another time. Oh, it went away. Go back one. So this is the chart that you see on the main My Strategies page all the time, and it's a history of the StormGuard value. And when you get below this value here, then it says go to cash. And so these are our 2 recent periods after the big crash. This was the big crash in 08, 09, and we almost triggered one time, but then we triggered a little bit. What was that, the summer of 11, where we actually triggered a little bit? But anyway, that's the nature of it. Right now we're in a very nice trending period. Thank goodness. Next. Okay, now this is getting towards the topic of tonight. This is from the old presentation. The question that a lot of people always have is, okay, so you set it up to operate with some magic parameters today. Maybe you we've just chosen that in hindsight, and who knows, it'll go forward. And a lot of people have broken their pick on that, and I've heard a lot of war stories. And clearly for a guy trying to develop some stuff, it sometimes it made me worry. Oh my God, if I say I'm going to do this, will I really be able to do what I believe is true? All these other guys had their troubles. So the first step I went in the past was to do a split sample and ask the question, okay, since these two halves of the market were very different, do the same tuning parameters apply to both? So next please. So in terms of the time constant for determining the trend, a lot of people think of the trend as the trend. No, the trend isn't the trend. The trend has to do with over what time period you're looking at it, and whether that's a nice boxcar function or an exponential moving average or some other thing. That the trend is not just one thing. So here with the moving average function that we use, and just a time constant thing here. The important thing is that these peaks line up, and one of them, let's see, the red line is for the first half of the period, and you'd expect that to be taller because the market was really whipping along, and the blue one is for the second half of the market where we were kind of struggling along, and that's for the whole period. But the important point is as those peaks are in the same place. And so that refers to what I call stationarity, meaning there may be random looking fluctuations, but it's like your radio. You tune your radio to your favorite station today, tomorrow you come back, and it's still tuned to that same glob of wiggly electronic signals out there. Okay, so next please. Just click along until we get through that. Okay, there we go. So independent of market performance, the trend character remained the same. Optimum parameter tuning was consistent in this test. Next, please.